Hi, it's Sarah in the Carson Tahoe area, and I want to talk about second homes and Airbnb being your home versus long term rentals. I'm going to be talking about up in Tahoe because that's what I know. I've been managing Airbnbs up in the Tahoe area for about 4 years now, and I've learned a lot about every aspect of the business now. One of those things is not every neighborhood has permits available. So, something to keep in mind when you are looking to buy and you think Airbnb is going to be a great idea. Also, how much money it actually is to get your permit. In Douglas County, you're looking at over $2,000 just to get your permit alone, and that's tier two. I'm not talking tier three because those are really hard to get. Um, I don't want to get into that right now. But then you also have the fire inspections, which are around $250 right now, just for the fire inspection. And then you have to make sure that your house can pass fire inspections. So anything that you have to do to the house to pass your fire safety inspections, you're going to have to do. Uh, so that's just an added expense to it. Then you're going to need to get sheets and towels, and you're going to have to furnish it. And then you're going to also have to pay for all the utilities because short term rentals, you're paying the utilities. So you're going to pay for the electricity. You're going to pay for the heating. You're paying for the water. Tenants aren't. That's another thing. Oh, and you're also going to have to pay for internet, anything else that you have as far as utilities go. Something else to think about. And you can't tell people, you can try. Trust me, you can try. But you can't tell people to keep a heat set at 65. Don't put it any higher. Oh no, they're going to crank it up. Some people do try to put the little locks on there. I've had some owners do that where they've tried to lock their thermostat to keep guests from increasing the temperature to keep their costs down. Yeah, that's a thing. Also, you have hot tubs. And depending on how or what your management company does, you might have to pay for the hot tub maintenance and cleanings. Some companies will cover it in their cleaning fees, but that's a different story. So just know the fees up front and also know that not every neighborhood can and will allow Airbnb. And also know your neighbors. You might want to talk to some people because if you end up having an Airbnb next to a very difficult neighbor, they will make your life hell. Ask me how I know because I've experienced it. So check your neighbors out as best you can. The other thing is don't get into this thinking that you're going to be making tons and tons of money. Okay? Get into this because you want a second home as an investment and you can afford this investment and you just want to make sure that the house is being used to, in a way, give back to the community because vacation rentals do give back to the community. I mean, it's the amount of times I've had to call a plumber, just to name a few, um, housekeepers. So get the second home because you want that investment, and it would be nice to make a little money on your investment, like a little side hustle. That's what an Airbnb should be for you. It should be like a little side hustle. But don't think that you're going to make tons and tons of money, especially in Tahoe. It's so seasonal and it's so unpredictable because our seasons are so unpredictable. Our spring was insanely weird this spring. We had felt like summer, then all of a sudden it snowed the next week. People were just like, I'm not going up there. It's ridiculous. Fall's the same. Fall, you can have it being like really hot, then all of a sudden it snows, and then it's back to hot, and then God forbid you have a fire season, and then you're just smoked out the whole rest of the season. So you never know what it's really going to be like, and therefore you don't know how much money you're going to be really making until you make it. Now, a long term rental, you know what you're going to be getting with long term. You lock somebody in for a year at their rental price, and you know that you're going to be making that much money every single month. that is the safest way to rent out your house. It's guaranteed, but at the same time, you're not making that quick money fast, and you can't use the house. And that's why so many people in Tahoe would much rather do Airbnbs than long-term rentals, because Tahoe's a great place to be. Everybody wants to be able to go up to Tahoe sometimes and just stay there for like a little while. And the owners of these homes also want to do that. So that's why Airbnb works really well for second homeowners instead of doing it long term. But they need to understand that the Airbnb side of it is the side hustle. It's not your real business, okay? At least for the owners, you know. Usually you'll break even on a mortgage. Like, say you need to make do, but you might not, because they might use more heat and water, and your utility bills go up because the tenants are using more. And so you really could just end up breaking even. Or you might be underwater. It really depends. It's a gamble. It totally is. But I do think it's better for a house to be rented than just sitting unoccupied. And I think, especially if I had a second home that I wanted to use up in Tahoe, I would want to rent it out short term so that I know that somebody's in the house, somebody's enjoying the house, and they're, keeping an eye on it. Tenants will keep an eye. Even the short-term rental tenants, oh, they will tell you everything. The short-term rental tenants will tell you everything that's wrong with your house. So don't worry. They'll let you know. And then you get it fixed without it just being like just a house sitting there and deteriorating. You know what I mean? The other thing is you got to think about the cost of hiring a management company and what that's going to take out of your bottom dollar. You know, nothing's for free. You can run it yourself. You can run it yourself, depending on the county you're in. A lot of counties now are requiring you, if you don't live in the town, you have to have a property management company run your Airbnb. So I know that's a new thing that they did in the city of South Lake Tahoe. You have to have a property manager managing your Airbnb in order for you to get the permit. Douglas County, the rule was if you don't live within 30 minutes or 40 minutes of the vacation rental, you have to work with a property management company. And you definitely have to have an emergency contact within 30, I think it's 30 minutes of the property itself. So there's rules and regulations. Again, do your research. You got to do your research. It's a big investment. And then, buy what you can afford. Live within your means. Maybe you're thinking, oh, you know what? I could buy that $10 million home, especially if I'm able to rent it out for this many months at this much rate. I could totally afford that. You don't know if you can actually make that type of money. That is all hearsay. So don't go and buy that $10 million house because you kind of can afford it, but you kind of can't, and you're just kind of hoping and banking on the fact that you'll make money. Don't do that, because nothing in life is guaranteed. This is a long-term investment, and you need to make sure that you can afford it even if you're not renting it. Um, I will say this: I think Washoe County doesn't have a wait list. Uh, they work a little differently, but getting a permit up in Washoe County is a major pain in the butt. Oh man, they are strict. Douglas County's a pain. They want like everything from you. They want like to know your firstborn child's name. And no, I'm just kidding. But they do seem to want everything from you. They want to know everything. And Washoe County wants to know even more. Washoe County was really, I had to get like notarized signatures, and they're really strict up there. Just thinking about it, I have a little PTSD from this house that I was trying to get a permit for up there. So there was this house up in Incline, and it was a great house. Owner wanted to basically flip it, but in the meantime, possibly Airbnb it out. But the problem was, it was an older home, and Washoe County building inspector did not care that it was an older home, even though the windows were to code when the house was built in the 70s. They said, nope, it's not to code now. This isn't a proper bedroom. You can't have the permit after we paid almost, I think it was over $2,000. We paid over $2,000. We went through the whole thing. I collected all of I had to make little maps, and I spent hours putting this packet together for this permit up in Washoe County, only to have them say, well, no, you can't have this bedroom. You're going to have it a 4-bedroom and not a 6-bedroom. Well, then I was like, fine, let's just do it that way. But then they were like, well, you're going to have to remove the beds and store them and store them. It was like a whole big pain in the butt for a house that was actually never planned to be kept for that long. It was, that was, that was a lot of stress. If they had just made the windows bigger, we would have been okay. But then is it really worth it? It wasn't. In the end, the house, they just sold it. And we never really got to rent it. All that money and time wasted. All right. Well, I digress. I am going to wrap it up now. Thank you for listening. And if you have any other questions about Airbnbs and the joys of it, hit me up. I'd love to chat. All right. Bye.